Okay, I don't know what happened. Maybe I waited too long for the camera and it went off just as I went to hit the button. I don't know. Hello there. I'm Scotty, and look at you. You're not. Uh, so back on this. I took a day off. Took a day off. I'm not sure why. I didn't do anything yesterday. I just didn't. But here we are. The Phantom from 1996, starring Billy Zane, Treat Williams, James Remar, and Christy Swanson, and James McGoohan, whatever you pronounce his name. The Phantom. I never heard of the comic books before. I have never. I don't know anything I know, and I haven't even watched it. But when I used to go to Family Video, they had uh, this DVD called The Phantom 2040. It was an animated cartoon, which I guess came out sometime before this. Um, and I guess it's connected to that, to the Phantom. That's all I knew. But I rented it once. It's one of those, Family Video, you get free kids DVDs. So, I would do that. We'd be downtown, playing bingo, and I'd go there and I'd get some free movies just because I didn't have any money, so I look at the free kids stuff. One time I bought it, and I never got around, or not bought it, rented it, excuse me, and I never got around to watching it. So maybe there's a DVD out there somewhere. Maybe I'll get it off eBay and I'll do that. But the Phantom tells this tale of Kit Walker, who is the 21st uh, Phantom. Uh, there's a generation of them where some about a baby was like a guy was killed and the baby was left behind in the jungles of Bengali. It's called or Benghazi, whatever. It was found by this tribe who made them when he grew up to become the defender of this island, which and then he's called the Phantom. And from generation after generation after generation, they pass on the Phantom name to their sons. It's anyone can imagine if anyone had any daughters, but everyone just had sons. I mean, they could have had daughters, but if they tried to do something nowadays, they'd probably do that. Like they could make a sequel to this, and it would be the daughter of the Phantom from this and his love interest, and her name would be Cat Walker, and she'd be a first female Phantom. I mean, there's a lot of female powered stuff in this, as the female Christy Swanson's character, whose name I don't remember, Palmer, Diana Palmer, is a strong female lead. She don't take no shit from nobody. She hitting people. She just doing the nuts. But again, if it came out nowadays, people would say that's woke. But there's nothing against a strong female lead. It's just when you overdo it, and that's the problem. Is Disney, and mostly Disney, but other places, they keep overdoing it. Why do you think people are starting to call it the MCU? You're turning every major character into a female. We got a female Hulk. We got a female Iron Man. We got a female Hawkeye. There was a female Loki. I don't know if she's gonna do anything else, but you know what I mean. Everything's female. We don't need that. But she's a pretty good character. So it starts out very Indiana Jones like with this group of people. Even with this little kid that could be like their short round, but not really. James Remar, and they have the bad guys, and they're looking for this skull. Apparently, the legend tells of 3 skulls that if you put them together, it would give them unimaginable power. Power stronger than anything on Earth. I mean, later the villain says, I have the power of the sun. I'm like, in the palm of your hand? Is this Sunny D? What? I mean, Dr. Octopus said that in Spider-Man 2. He's like, the power of the sun in the palm of your hand. I'm like, he just made Sunny D. What the hell? No. Yeah, Treat Williams, though, is our villain. And this takes place in the 1930s, so it's like a send-up of those serials from around that time. And for his part, I think that Treat Williams embodies that type of kooky villain. Like, you could put him in a lineup with the villains from 1960s Batman series, and I think he would work. He wouldn't be that kooky, but he knows what kind of movie he's in. So there, James Remar and these other two guys are on this, trying to find this skull, and they come across, they call the ghost the ghost who walks, the Phantom, to Billy Zane, in a terrific wig, by the way. By the way, I don't even know this, but Billy Zane, he wears a lot of wigs in his movies. Like Titanic, that's a hairpiece. And here's one hairpiece. You ever seen him? Go all the way back to Critters. I bet that was some sort of hairpiece thing. He's bald in most of other things, right? That's why I think he'll make a perfect Lex Luthor. But I bet he was picking everybody else. The guy from The Walking Dead, John Cryer, Beast from the X-Men prequels, guys who aren't actually bald. Well, John Cryer is, but the other ones aren't. And what's his obsession with having Lex Luthor with a beard? The guy from Titans also had a beard. That's three. You had John Cryer, Michael Kudlitz, the guy from The Walking Dead, Abraham from The Walking Dead. I know names, but I'd never seen that show. Like Daryl, Michonne, Abraham, Glenn, not Mike, Rick. What's the little kid's name? Tipped at my tongue. Negan poster. See, I don't know names because my friend Eric is a fan. I know some names, right? Daryl, Cheryl. Are Daryl and Cheryl gonna, anyway. Where was I? Right. No, I'm still not there. Yeah, the Lex Luthors with beards nowadays. Lex Luthor does not have beard. Okay? I don't understand the need. Like, John Cryer's beard was just kind of like mine, where it's filled up here. But Michael Kudlitz has a beard that go like this. And so the other guy kind of go like this. Why? What's the sense with Lex Luthor having a beard? I've always knew Lex Luthor was completely bald, especially if you go by the Smallville canon, where he has basically alopecia. He can't grow any hair. Which makes sense, don't you think? Because of the meteor shower. If you don't know Smallville, the meteor shower, he was right in the center of the meteor shower, and that caused him to have alopecia, which means he can't grow any hair. Anyway. But anyway, back to this. The Phantom tries to stop them from getting the skull. It doesn't work. And then we're introduced to New York City. Superheroes in New York? Well, technically, he's not from New York. But, they also introduced this weird thing where he speaks to the ghost of his dead dad. Yeah, we get some exposition from James Remar, who said that they ran into trouble. It was a guy that he thought he already killed, but he's not dead. And we find out that James Remar actually killed his father, killed Kit's father, whose name is not really said. He's just his father. I don't know. But you see Diana, her father dies too. I believe that's who it is. Dr. Palmer, isn't that what they call him? Not Raymond Palmer. It's not the Atom. But I swear that's the guy that comes in and he looks in the thing and stabbed in the eyes. Although the way he acts, it's like he didn't die. He's like, what we need knees. He breaks his glasses. So I'm like, wait, is he dead or did he just poke his eyes out? We don't get a body or anything. This movie's PG. So you're not really going to see any blood or anything. So Diana's going to go on an exposition to Bengali to figure out about the things. But she gets kidnapped by James Remar and Catherine Zeta Jones. She tips under the laser. Who plays Sala? Not that Sala. But I almost think that maybe it was a nod to Indiana Jones. This is very adventure serial, so it's Indiana Jones. So I think it's a nod towards it. But when they said her name Sala, I'm like, really? But yeah, she's a femme fatale. Yeah, she's like the villainess, you know. But so they kidnap her, and they're gonna take her to Bengali for some reason because the Phantom then rescues her. Or no, I think, or is it? I'm trying to think, because he doesn't come to New York till after he rescues her, right? So she lands on the island, right? And he rescues her. By the way, he rides around on a horse, which is something very interesting to see. I mean, it's 1938 here, but it's very interesting. A super, a hero, a big hero on a horse. Interesting. So he saves her, and then she goes back to New York, and he follows her. I love this scene with the cab driver. This cab driver, you've probably seen him in a million things as a supporting character. I don't remember the actor's name, but he's like, he drives him to this museum or whatever it is, and he's like, "Hey, you he's like, here, keep the change." He's like, "Hey, what is this? This is not real money." He's like, "Oh no, I suppose because it's like I don't know money from it was like too old of money or money that of currency of Bengali. I don't know." But he dumps out these whole uh bunch of like jewels into his hand. And he's like, "Oh, don't worry, they're real. They're real." And he goes in, and as he goes to leave, he's like, "Hey, right your service." He's like, "Oh, while you're in there, I had these appraised. I'll do whatever you want." So yeah, and so he meets up with Diana, and he goes to the museum because he finds out that they have a green skull in a museum, and he's like, or maybe jade, perhaps. And it's the jade one. There's a silver, jade, and gold. They had this. The bad guys had the silver one, and this is the jade one. And I enjoyed this movie, but this felt wonky here. Kit goes in, he just smashes the thing open and grabs the thing. And I know he's been away from civilization, but you can't just do that. But even more wonky is when he turns around, bad guy's right there. He's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, take that. It's okay. Museum security, we have stuff for the kids in the other room." And I'm like, what? Like, that feels like lazy writing. Like, how that guy's going to get the skull? They're already on their way there to get it. And so Kit goes to steal it, and he turns around, and he just happens to be right there. That's a little too convenient, don't you think? But he has that. Now he has both of them captured. And he basically has James Remar is going to kill him. But he escapes, turns into the Phantom, and then fights them off. But, so they decide they have to go back to the island again. No, not to the island. They have to go to inside the Devil's Triangle. Which, why don't... See, what is it with movies not calling it the Bermuda Triangle? Is that like copyright or something? Because here's the Devil's Triangle. In the Turbo the Power Rangers movie, it's the Nemesis Triangle. I don't know. I don't get it. They have to go to the Devil's Triangle. And so the Phantom, he hitches a ride on the plane that they're on. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna call out bullshit here, okay? So she has on a boat, I think. He rescues her from the boat. He has this dog or wolf, and the wolf looks like it stays behind, and he gets on the plane and flies her out. And then when they get there, he's on the horse, and the wolf is following him. I did not see the wolf get in the plane. How did the wolf get it? Did it swim in the ocean with sharks? I don't know. It's kind of wonky. But anyway, they get to this Nemesis Triangle, of course, or not Nemesis, the Devil's Triangle, and the Phantom is there. And this is where it gets a little more wonky. So first of all, Treat Williams, like I said, he's a decent villain. But here you introduce the leader of this gang, the Saba Fang gang or whatever. And it's Karyuyuki Tagawa. And I went, well, that's a major mistake, and I'm making him the main villain. But he's just this secondary type villain. And so he shows up and they show up and they're like, we need the third skull so we can. So I want the third skull so I can have the power. And the guy's like, you need the fourth skull. Fourth skull. There is no fourth skull. The fourth skull controls them. I don't know why I'm doing one with the New York accent, but the fourth skull controls them. And then I love this dude, this gangster guy who's like, he's like, nope, I'm out of here, basically. He's like, hey, no, this is bullshit. You don't have nothing, because I think of his name. Drax is the bad guy's name. Drax basically saying, hey, I have these and I have power and I can do this. And it's like, no, you bullshit. You don't have nothing. And what? Why don't I don't know, something like that. And he says something in Chinese or something. He's like, what does that mean? It's the ancient language for fire the cannon. And the cannon just boom, knocks him on his ass, killing him. And this is when Sala, Catherine Zeta-Jones, the Thunder Laser, she looks up and she notices the Phantom. And he's like, and she says nothing. Keep in mind, this woman has been a villain the entire time. By the way, I should go back to the scene where he's trying to rescue her from the bad guys, and there's like a whole team of women, and he jumps into this locker room, and he's like, gentlemen, ladies, sincerest apologies. That was kind of funny. And he jumps out into the next room. He's like, is this whole place filled with women? Could be paradise, could be hell, depending on what time of the month it is. Anyway, if they all synced up, run! I drowned first. Death first! Anyway, so he fighting off these guys, fights off this Cao Feng guy, whatever, Karyuki Tagawa's character. He gets killed, and then, eventually, Drax is able to get all three of the skulls together, and he lasers one other dude. By this point, Sala is like, okay, I'm on the good side now, and she's like, is done with the. I don't know. I don't understand why she jumps sides, but it's revealed that the fourth skull is the ring, right? Oh, I'm gonna go back a little bit. James Remar tells Karyuki Tagawa, I killed the Phantom. I have his belt right here. And they're like, I joined the club. We all killed the Phantom. He keeps coming back. And they keep thinking he's like immortal. No one ever thinks, hey, he had children. They keep, I don't know. So it is the Phantom's ring, the skull ring, which I thought about. I'm like, so is it the ring? Because, it's on the freaking cover right there. And he's like, so Drax tries to laser him, but he uses the ring and it fires back. Spectacular fires. Okay, so there's some CGI in this. They don't overuse the CGI, so when it does pop up, it's not terrible. It does stand out. It's 1990s CGI. This explosion is like a point and click explosion thing, like the Photoshop type explosion. And so the Phantom and Diana and Sala, they get out of there, and so the Phantom rides his horse to this boat or submarine or whatever it is. It's gonna take her away. Sala is there, and so she's like, I want to thank you, Kit. Like, yeah, I know it's you, so let's take off your mask. And he's like, You know, I'm not permitted to do such things. And he takes the mask off and he goes, I can only take it off for one person. And she's like, well, who's that? Woman I'm going to marry. And of course, she's the tough, strong female lead. So she kisses him and it says, bye. Clearly, this was supposed to be like a cliffhanger thing for a sequel. Like, oh, could they get together again? Are they going to eventually marry? You know, is it going to be a story of the sequel where he showed her, so now he's got to convince her to marry him, sort of thing. But also, little nitpick here. He takes his mask off. Salah's right there, so technically she saw him. That would be a twist. Who says I have to accept? And he's like, no, not you. Her. She was after him she's thirsting after him the whole movie. Salah is. It's like, you know, she's all jealous too. Like, well, why does she want her when she can have? Why does he want her when he can have me? And she's like, okay, sure. And then that's where the movie ends. There apparently Billy Zane had signed on for 3 films, but you know, it didn't do very well. You know, Billy Zane did. They were gonna have like a bulky suit, like the Flash from the TV series or Batman. Billy Zane got ripped. He got ripped, so he didn't need that. And you know, he would work out. He worked out even between takes. He would work out just to keep buff, to keep how it looks. And yeah, I think that is a wig because it's like only goes one way and it doesn't really move that much, except for the, you know. But he does a pretty good job, I think. He has that sort of. I've always seen Billy Zane as an underrated actor, and I keep saying this. He should be Lex Luthor. I know he's getting too old, but technically, if you cast a Superman in his 30s, it would work because I keep saying this. Lex Luthor is supposed to be older than Superman. Why is it that the 2 TV series, Spider-Man, really? Smallville and Lois and Clark, they got that right. John Shea was like 10 years older than Dean Cain. Or is 10 years older than Dean Cain. And then Michael Rosenbaum's character, he's like maybe 5 years older, maybe. I think maybe they are 10 years older. Because Michael Rosenbaum is 51, and I think Tom Welling is in his mid-40s. So a little bit less than 10, but, you know. So he's supposed to be older. But you cast Jesse Eisenberg, who was younger than Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill was in his mid-30s. Jesse Eisenberg was in his late 20s, early 30s. Too young. And not the right actor. I don't know. But I'm going to give this movie a very low, pretty good. I actually enjoyed this. And yes, that puts it in the league because the other ones have been middle of the road. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was the best one. I mean, there's a couple of the ones that could be better. But, you know. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on The Phantom? I'm going to come slow, share, like, share, and subscribe. We're going to roll the dice now. I swear. Wait, I only need 1. Right? And I only have 4 left. 2. 2. Alright. Let me see if I should show you. Meow.